Okay, so Michael, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Okay, so here we are with another edition of the Hardball Profits Way, brought to you by American Management Services. We are a business management podcast for any owner, entrepreneur, or aspiring entrepreneur who wants to improve operations, maximize profits, and grow their business. You know, Mike, the other day when I went on that silliness about aspiring entrepreneur, college student, MBA student, child, toddler, whatever, I had 3 people call me up and tell me, "Are you out of your goddamn mind or something?" But I thought it was pretty funny to do that. So I'm not going to do it today because I think today we should be pretty serious about what's going on in this crazy world that we live in. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are your allies through these crazy times. We are here to help your business survive the coronavirus pandemic and the recession it has spurred. I read some, I think I forwarded it to you yesterday, I read some online survey that said, I don't remember what it said, 44% of small businesses will fail and crash in the next 6 months, and they won't make it through this pandemic. And last time I checked, there were about 30 million small businesses in the United States, 44%, close to half. So that means 15 million companies are at risk, businesses are at risk. Is that what we read yesterday?
That's what we read.
Don't know the viability of that survey. We're going to check it out today. But even if it's 10%, even if it's 20%, it is huge numbers. Hey, my name's Lou Mosca, and joining me in this episode, as I told you a minute ago, is Michael Lockey, Director of Management Services. And what we're going to talk about today is one thing, really one thing, and that is leadership. What's going on today, Mike?
Oh, well, you know, it's been a crazy past 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you know, my feeling is it's just going to keep getting a little bit worse before it gets better. But you know, I think part of the theme of this podcast is to help people stay positive through this.
So, you know, Mike, when you say however long this goes on, what are you thinking about that?
Well, you know, again, it's very uncertain. You know, medical experts are saying we need the 14 weeks, and then we're going to reevaluate it from that point. We got jurisdictions shutting down, whether that's counties, whether that's states.
How about our county?
Our county just shut down.
There you go.
So we're, you know, no different than anybody else.
Okay. So we can go sit at a bar, right?
Well, fortunately, they're shut down too.
Okay.
I'll be sitting at my home bar, I think.
There you go.
But you know, who knows? Who knows if the thing is going to be through in a couple months, a year, 12, 18 months. There's just no telling at this point.
I think it's safe to say our world has changed.
Absolutely.
You know, sort of like that. So I remember that, you know, there was this thing called 9/11 tragedy back in 2001. Then we had this amazing, ridiculous recession in 2008, 9, and 10 that the big banks caused, in my opinion. And now we've got, you know, coronavirus, all right? And I think the impact on the economy and the small business community from the coronavirus will dwarf anything that we had to live through in the last 15 or 20 years. So if there's one message, one shout out you want to give to the independent business owner, one theme you want to instill in them, what would that be?
So I'll answer that in just a moment, but I want to stress that, you know, in the last conversation we had, we talked about making sure the business owner has a plan for your people, plan for your operations, plan for your liquidity. And we're going to expound on those later on. But for today, the one thing I think is very clear that everybody needs to instill as a business owner is that aspect of leadership. You know, everybody's freaking out. Everybody's subject to this virus, whether that's impacting your business, impacting your family, impacting you personally, your health, whatever the case may be, and everybody should be concerned about that. But as a business owner, as a business leader, you've got to be the adult in the room. You've got to be the rock. You've got to be the stability for your people, because your people, if they see you freaking out, then I think it just gets exponentially worse the lower down the organization chart you go. So the people at the bottom, the worker bees, so to speak, you know, they're going to be, you know, going nuts. And if you're not that calming force, you're in trouble.
Okay,
You're in trouble.
so, we talk to a lot of business owners every day. We're working with a whole group of folks, and now we've been getting calls from people looking for advice, and we're trying to help them out. So obviously, one of the things we try to instill in people is stay calm, right?
Yep.
Stay calm. If you flinch, if you freeze, if you overreact, if you underreact, you're in the crapper.
Yeah.
Right? Your people are watching you, your vendors are watching you, your bankers are watching you, your customers are watching you, and your family's watching you. So somehow along the way, the old phrase, fake it till you make it. Well, I'm not even saying fake it till you make it. I'm suggesting that you have a plan to get you through so that you're one of those survivors, not one of those people that goes by the wayside. Recently I had a friend who has a pretty sizable business say to me, "Are you worried about liquidity?" Asking me about our company. Are you worried about liquidity? And my reply to him was, anybody that's not worried about their liquidity is a fool. I don't care how much cash you have. Now, thank God American Management is a relatively strong company, but anybody that's not worried about their liquidity is a fool. But that doesn't mean if you're the owner of your business, you run around with your damn hair on fire, right? So, I talked to a friend of mine who's got a business that does about $9 or $10 million a year. I've known him for a long time. And when I said to him, what have you done with backing up your bank or backing up your principal and interest payments or backing up, your creditors? He said, nothing. I didn't know I could do that. And I said, well, here's what you do. Get on the phone and do it. And he texted me the next day that he got relief for $20,000 a month for 3 months just by making one phone call. So sometimes what we bring to the table is just that calming effect that here you can take action, you can make moves to solidify yourself. Are you finding that going on?
Yeah, I think I'm going to piggyback off what you said. I think, again, we're a business ourselves, and so we're no different than anybody else that's out there. We have to worry about our liquidity. We have to worry about our people, our operations, our organization, our liquidity. And we have to be the leaders for our people, just like what we're asking of everyone else. And, I think I think we've done a very commendable job internally in our operations and making sure that we're there for our clients. We're a business that's driven off of time and collections for the work that we're doing. And in this point in time, we've let people we've taken a position of we're here to help you regardless. If you can't pay us, so be it. If we can't bill you, so be it. Because we recognize.
So let's say that again.
Yep.
We have become bankers for our clients that deserve our attention and respect our work together.
Absolutely. And I think part of the reason that we're taking that position is because if we didn't, then those business owners don't necessarily know how to be that leader for their people. They're freaking out probably worse than some of the people that are underneath them when they really need to be solid at that point. And I think that's what we're bringing to the table for them. So we've done a commendable job of continuing to work with our clients because we're instead of them freaking out, we're holding them to task. We're telling them things like
we're giving them the rule book.
Absolutely. We're telling them, we're giving them actions. You need to be doing this, and we're following up relentlessly with them. And even if that doesn't result in us getting paid for that time and that work, which is our business, we're there for them, and we're keeping them as a stable force. So I've got a couple examples of that readily available. I have one consultant that was working remotely, spent about 4 or 5 hours on various video conferences, all tailored to a particular thing. One revolving sales, another one working their coronavirus action plan, getting through their SBA loan application, which they submitted, and they actually got feedback already from the SBA. Obviously, it's still hey, we're evaluating it.
But
blah,
that's
blah, blah.
pretty cool because the SBA moving. Said there'd be feedback within 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
That's pretty dynamic.
And this was maybe 2 days. So, but the point being is that 4 or 5 hours of the day, we held them to task on particular things. I had another client, same type thing. We held them to task. We had again, we were working off site with them, but we had video conferences. And this is a company that is a distributor, and they were able to secure a 4-month contract with a pretty major manufacturer in the U.S., probably top 20, 30
Pharmaceuticals?
Pharmaceuticals. Actually, consumer products as well.
Consumer products. Okay.
But anyways, they secured a 4-month contract because they were relentlessly working the phones. Kept their salespeople, although their salespeople couldn't travel, they set up every day. Salespeople had a quota of calls to make, and they just relentlessly kept calling until finally one of those calls landed and hit and secured a 4-month contract for them. That's essentially going to keep their business alive, at least in one section, and it's going to offset any losses they have in any other sections. But I can guarantee you with this client, had we not just held them to task, they would have never done that.
Cool. I think that's really cool. So, one of the things I'm concerned about for all of our clients is, that owner. Most owners have this, not going to say cavalier attitude, but they have this gunslinger mentality. The guys that built the business from nothing, started it 30 years ago with a pickup truck out of their garage, and now they're doing $6, $7, $8, $9 million a year. They're street fighters. They go on their gut, their intuitive nature, right? Not some playbook or rule book that they typically have gotten in place. And that's where we come in, right? We help them put together that playbook or rule book in general. Mm-hmm. In general, for how to protect the integrity of their company. Well, now as that leader, that champion, that Superman, the guy putting on the cape and the cloak and dagger to protect his company, to protect his employees, he's got to be crystal clear in the message to everyone all the time, all the time. And an owner has to be willing to lead by sacrifice, to lead by being transparent, to lead by walking through the fire first and making sure all of their employees understand that we're going to come out of this. Mm-hmm. We're going to be okay. We're going to come out of this together. And here's how. Not just we're going to. Here's how. Yeah. And I think if you do that with your staff, you won't lose them, and they'll follow you. And I think leadership right now, mission critical.
Yeah. So I always kind of said, just even in normal times before, for putting the virus aside for a second, that the work that we do is it's not about necessarily how the business provides their service or how they make their widget or whatever line of work they're in. It's more about us. I think you said it very well. Putting a playbook together for them. And to me, it's certainly about the leadership aspect, because a lot of our clients never learned or never knew how to be a functional leader. It's about communication.
It's also a big difference between running $1.5 million company with 6 employees versus a $13 million company with 36 employees.
No doubt whatsoever. But I think it's all about tangible skills, more so than, they know their business, they know their clients, they know their customers. Can they be better at it? Certainly. But I think for the most part, they're always very well versed in how their product works and what they should be doing out in the field. So to me, it's the leadership, it's the communication, it's the accountability. It's those things that I think make a difference with the work that we do. And now bringing the virus back in, when I think about it, those 3 things, leadership, communication, accountability, whenever you have a contingent situation like this, you need more of that. So I had a conversation with one of our consultants yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they were questioning, I sent this person an email and I said, I'm going to apologize for you in advance, but we're going to be bothering you 20 times a day, asking you probably the same stuff. We want to make sure that we're okay with this particular relationship we have with a client. And he came back and said, well, instead of reporting daily, it's kind of just a weekly report. And I said, no, we're going to ask you probably several times a day. And I said, in a time like this, the communication has to increase. It can't decrease. We can't go days and days and days without having word back, because then we're losing all semblance of how
everything
we normally
falls into
operate.
a black hole.
Exactly, and then we don't know what direction we're going. And in this time, when things are changing hour to hour, we can't go a long period of time without knowing what's happening. So, and I think that holds true for our business owners. And again, the core of this conversation is the leadership aspect. They have to up their level of communications. They kind of have to up their level of accountability. We talked about working off site on the last show, and they got to have some semblance of what are my people doing if they're working remotely. I mean, if you're going to be outlaying the cash for somebody to be working from home, then you got to have some way to measure that.
Yeah, some daily tracking.
Absolutely.
So, you think about your client that secured that 4-month contract with the consumer products company, right? And whatever the value of that contract was, that was good. But that could have happened by working from home too,
Well,
if they
certainly.
had the discipline in place to do that. But the other side of that is I think every owner needs to step out of their skin.
Yep.
Whatever you've done up till 2 weeks ago doesn't matter anymore. It matters what you do today, right? So to secure that 4-month contract from that large consumer products company, maybe they should have requested or required a 25 or 35% upfront payment, because with liquidity, you can keep people working. With the hope of business, you can't keep people working. You need liquidity.
Well, I say this all the time. If you don't ask, the answer is no.
Right.
And worst case scenario, if it were me, I would have gone to this big company who has pretty deep pockets. Now their deep pockets in this day and age doesn't necessarily matter at this point because they have liquidity issues as well. But I would lay it out there. Hey, you know what? Glad we have this 4-month contract, but we're a small fish in a big pond. You're a big fish in a big pond. Is there any way we can work out something from the cash perspective? Because it doesn't do me any good to be out of business 2 months from now on this 4-month contract. So
let me
why
ask-
not? Why
let
not
me
ask it?
Let me ask you a few things. Did the United States economy survive 9/11?
Sure did.
Did the United States economy survive the attack on Pearl Harbor?
It absolutely did.
Did the United States economy survive World War II? Mm-hmm. Did it survive the Great Recession?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think the odds are that we'll survive the coronavirus?
We'll get out of it, but I think it's all about being prepared and executing that plan, which goes right back to the leadership.
So my position is only the strong will survive.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So strong is mental acuity.
Yep.
It is financial awareness. It is how you communicate and how you lead. It is staying positive all the time. So did I read, I don't know, at 2 o'clock this morning when I was emailing you that the federal government passed some silly little stimulus?
That silly little stimulus.
Couple of bucks?
$2 trillion.
$2 trillion. All right. Did you get yours yet?
I'm waiting for it.
You're waiting for it. Okay. So we've got this huge stimulus package that could potentially help small business owners, and we need to make sure that we understand how it can help small business owners. You've got government, federal government with the SBA loan program. You've got state governments with some type of bridge loans, some of them, not all of them. We've got some cities like Columbia, South Carolina, with its own $4 or $5 million pot for small business owners. And you need a conduit to help you get these things done. All right, so over the next couple of episodes, we're going to be bringing you, one other thing I want to mention. Were we talking about restaurants the other day?
We were.
We were, okay. And restaurants need leadership more than anything right
Absolutely.
now. I spoke to a woman that owns 2 restaurants the other day in Massachusetts, and she was batshit crazy over trying. I couldn't even calm her down. Just could not calm her down. And I will tell you, your people see that. Your staff sees that. You are just an ounce away from dying. You're an ounce away from dying. So sometimes you got to back up, take a breath, see where you're really at, and get some professional help to guide you through these times. So where can people get professional help, Michael?
Well, I think most people, most business owners are probably going home and taking it home with them and bouncing it off their spouse, and that's probably not a bad thing for them. But really what you need is somebody that's going to challenge you. And, I through this whole thing, I've kind of laid out that that's what we do. We certainly do that. I'm not saying that people should just come flocking to us. I would love that to happen, and we're here to help them. We've set up a toll-free or a hotline number that they can call into.
What do we charge them for that?
Absolutely nothing.
How much?
Nothing.
Why?
Free.
Why?
Because
I hate free. Free for free, free, free. I hate free.
Well, you and me both, but in this time, it's the right thing to do because I think
What? Say that again?
it's the right thing to do.
Because that's what leadership does.
Absolutely.
Leaders do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think what I would encourage, whether they call us or not, they need to find somebody that's going to challenge them, some like-minded people that can actually help them tangibly. Like I said, you can go home and bounce things off your spouse's significant others, friends, colleagues, family, whatever, and that's probably not a bad thing for your sanity. But is that actually helping you drive your business and be the leader that you need to be? It's probably debatable. Get somebody that can help you do that. That's going to remain focused on making sure that your business is is continuing to survive, that you're executing to a plan. And look, let's be real honest. Even sometimes the best laid plans can fall apart. But a leader is going to find ways to navigate through that. Look, there's a million things that go wrong with us. I think we've had a pretty good
not
plan.
with me, with you, not with me, dude.
Yeah,
Nothing goes wrong.
It's all me. It
is all with you.
But no, I mean, we recognize the reality of the situation, and we've been planning, and look, sometimes
we've
things fall
been planning
apart.
and executing.
Planning and executing,
but
no
the
doubt.
best plan, folks, has a degree of flexibility to it, because you cannot control every circumstance and every environment. So you do want to protect your people, you do want to protect the integrity of your business, and you do want to protect your liquidity.
But here's the great thing about having the plan is you can do the what if.
Totally.
If you think something can happen, then you can say, well, what if this doesn't happen? What if it goes this way? So you're already thinking ahead of problems when and if that contingent thing happens. If you're just waiting and seeing, which we talked about in the last episode, I think you're already dead, because you're just gonna be subject to whatever happens. We don't want to be subject to whatever happens. We want to know with some certain degree of reasonableness that we can get to this point, and we know that some things are going to fall apart, but we've already planned ahead for those things. And the reality is, out of our plan, 100% of it isn't going to fall apart. Maybe 50% of it falls apart, but we're ready for that, and we know how we're going to react when and if that happens, and we're going to fight tooth and nail for it not to happen. So, we're no different than anybody else in this day and age. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, but at least we know the direction that we think we need to go and the direction we want to go, and we've laid that out to our people, and we've laid it out in our operations, and certainly with the liquidity. So we have contingent plans in place already.
Okay, so I sort of want to share this with folks. When the few times I've listened to podcasts in my career, which probably less than a few times, but the few times I've listened to podcasts, to some degree I want to be entertained. Life is tough enough, business is tough enough. There's a lot of things that go sideways in business. So sometimes, I listen to something and I want to be entertained. We're not trying to entertain you now. We're trying to bring you real-world practical advice to help you get through what is truly a crisis of confidence, a crisis of leadership, a crisis of moral compass, a crisis of finances, and a health issue. I mean, a dramatic health issue. I think we're up to 55,000 in the United States right now, with almost half of them in the New York City area. So we have crises all across the board, and from our perspective, we want to sincerely protect our employees and our clients, because the integrity of American management is truly its employees and our relationship with our clients. So no fun, no games. We are truly expecting another 1, 2, or 3 months of hell. Hell being uncertainty. Hell being start and stop. Hell being of the coronavirus expanding before it contracts. Hell being hell. H-E-double-L, hell. That's what we're expecting. You agree with that, Mike?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure do.
So what have we done to try to help people?
We stayed in communication with them. We said we didn't care if we billed you. We didn't care if we collected from you. We're here to help. We're the sounding board. We keep people to task, make sure that they're focusing on what's going to help them through this, not just playing sour grapes or being a shoulder to cry on. We've helped them devise plans. We've helped them lay out things
shoulder to cry on. You know what my mother used to tell me? Your tears don't impress me. Okay. So here's the thing. We have two sets of folks we're trying to work with, right? So our existing client base, we will do anything for you, with you, anytime. That includes challenging you and not listening to the mamsy-pamsy crying bullshit that a lot of people want to do, okay? If you don't know us and have not worked with us, you are fortunate, all right? We've put together the Business Owner Crisis Hotline. Get a pencil, get a pen, write this down, listen to it 30 times. This is through our relationship with the United States Conference of Mayors. We are the exclusive private partner with the United States Conference of Mayors. Go to usmayors.org and check it out, okay? Where they endorse and support American Management as the exclusive consulting firm in the United States to work with privately held businesses. You can learn more at AMSERV, AMSERV.com/crisis-hotline. And if you really have a sense of urgency, if you really want to attack your issues right now and you don't have to worry about writing a check, call us. We've set up a number for you. It's not an automated robot. It's a human being that's going to answer the phone 24/7 and feed your information to either myself, to Michael, or one of our consultants to help you within an hour or two of you calling to get real-world advice. 855-876-5561. Free. It is free. We are here to help you. This is what we do every day. We will bring to you the advice, leadership, calmness, direction, potential solutions you might need. Free. Thank you, the United States Conference of Mayors. We want to help as many folks out there as possible. We will take your call anytime. 855-876-5561. What do you think, Mike?
Love it.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.